Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. So, guys, what I want to kind of talk to y'all about today is a subject that I feel is pretty important, and I think it happens a lot more than what we realize as trappers. So, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this morning, and he was on a complaint job for beaver, and he's caught two or three out of there. I think he caught three, and then they just quit him. They just quit coming. And he kind of wanted my opinion and what I thought, and I said, okay, how many beaver do you think were there? And he said, probably somewhere around seven or eight of them he thought was there at the colony by the sign that was there. And I said, well, how many sets have you got in? He said five. I said, well, there's a start right there. Guys, I think, and this is just my belief and my own opinion, I think as trappers we way underset things. Okay, I think that I don't know where it got started, but somewhere along the line we've gotten out of the habit of gang setting, and what most people think of as a gang set now is two sets or three maybe, and then that's it. That's not a gang set, guys. Okay, gang setting is loading that place up. I told him, well, you should have started with somewhere around 8 or 10 sets. If you thought there was, seven or eight beaver there, you need to make a set for at least every one of those beaver that are there, and then a few more to take care of any incidental muskrats or any incidental otter that might have come through, something of that sort. You've got to set accordingly to take care of any incidentals that might come through that you might catch. I said, you've got to not only cover what you're there to try and catch, but you've got to worry about other things too, snapping turtles, otter, muskrat, nutria, whatever the case might be. I mean, you've got to overset to compensate for all of that. And he said, he never thought about that, but it makes perfect sense. And I think sometimes we get wrapped up in the idea that if we just put in two or three sets and we've got everything covered. And that, guys, it just doesn't work like that. If I was going out here and going to go string a great big mink line through my country, knowing full well that I've got an overabundance of raccoon here too, knowing full well that I'm going to catch a bunch of raccoon on top of those mink, I'm not just going to go under a bridge and drop in one or two sets and think I'm going to whip the world, catching mink that way, when I know they're going to be plugged up full of coon the next morning until I get the coon caught out of the way. So it's the same way. It doesn't matter what we're trying to catch, whether it's fox or coyotes or bobcats or muskrat or mink or whatever the case might be. You've got to set more there at that location than what you're banking on. Okay, and like I said, I don't know where we got thrown off of that. I don't understand. And I've said this before in some of my videos. Y'all have heard me say it. Those of you that have been around here a while, especially with coyotes, the old government standard was 12 to 18 sets per location. Go a half a mile and do it again, and then go a half mile and do it again. That way you covered all your bases, and you overset to compensate for any incidentals that might happen. A deer come along through a trap, or a cow, stepped on one and throwed it, or maybe they went in there, and I've had it happen where they went into a location and a herd of cows come in there and tromped out every set that you had. Okay, so you've got to have sets in there that's gonna still be working for you should something like that happen. There's none of this has ever been chiseled in stone. There's absolutely no hard, fast set of rules for this. And like I said, somewhere along the line, I don't know what professional ever come up with this idea that you just set in two sets and go. Don't know where that come from, but for some reason we've gotten away from the gang setting part of it. And I understand if you're like here in my country, here in Iowa, we can trap the road right away. And back in the day when we had a raccoon market, we had a bunch of trappers out there, and yeah, theft was a bad deal. I lost 200 traps in 2 nights in 2003. They hit me for 100 one night. A week and a day later, come back and hit me for another 100 in a different section. And yeah, they knew me, and they knew my routine. I was, my dad was dying at that time, and I was taking care of him. So I was leaving the house between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning to go run traps, because I had to be back between 8 and 8:30 in the morning to take care of him through the day. I would run home, skin, eat a bite of supper, come back and take care of him through the evening and into the night until it was time for me to go again. And they knew me. They knew my routine. They took them traps in broad daylight. So, not getting on a soapbox about all that, but yeah, we had a bad theft problem. I always figure 2 or 3 dozen a year. That's the cost of doing business. Now, once you start getting up there around 4, 5, 6 dozen, well, then it starts to hurt, and then I get mad. But not that I don't get mad anyway. I get mad if I lose one. But I always figure 2 or 3 dozen a year when we had a high competition, that was the cost of doing business. Now, the last few years where we haven't had anybody out here, been pretty nice. Ain't lost, 2 or 3. Only, I guess 2 years ago, I lost 40 in one night. And yeah, that pisses you off and it hurts. But, you can't let it ruin your day, and you sure can't let it ruin your season either. But anyway, back on the topic at hand, guys, I think we need to back up and reevaluate some things, and we need to look at our own trap lines a little bit and see where we might be missing some things as far as setting. I'm not preaching. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or how to do it. This is just my belief and my opinion. All right, guys, I know this was kind of a short little video, but it's 96 degrees out here, and it's a hot son of a buck. And I sure appreciate y'all tuning in to watch. I want to thank each and every one of you. And if you found any of this content helpful to you, if you would please just hit that thumbs up for me. That's all I'm asking. I sure appreciate it. Once again, this is Dale Billingsley with another one. Signing out.